We are going to do 1.1 Intro to Layers for Photopea. So the first thing you want to do is download 1.1a, 1.1b, and 1.1c JPEGs from your classroom. And we are in photopea.com. That's how we open up this front. And we're going to File, Open, and we want to find A, B, and C that you downloaded. You can click and drag to select all three. You can click the first one, hold down the Shift key, and click the last one. Or you can hold down the Control key and select each one to select all of them at the same time, and open. Click on 1.1b, the frame, and that's the middle one in our tabs up here. So find the frame picture, Control A, select all. You know how you have it all selected, you should see dotted lines around your frame. Control C, copy. Now come over to the first tab, the keys, and when you see the keys, Control V, paste. Photoshop wants to copy and paste from the clipboard, allow, and now we should see the frame on the keys. Okay, if the frame is successfully transferred, we can close that second tab. Do we want to close it? Yes. And find the clock. That's now the second tab, the last tab. Control A to select all. You know you have it selected. You see dotted lines around the edges. Control C to copy. And come over to our Keys tab, the first tab. And here we will Control V, paste. And when you have the clock over, we can go back and close this tab. So now we have all three images on one canvas. Now I have my layers window open, but in case we don't, we can find it in Window, Layers. And this will turn it on. And right now we have layer 2, the clock, layer 1, the frame, and the keys, the background layer. Double click on the word background. And we're going to name this layer keys. So type in keys and press enter. Layer 1, double click on the word layer 1 and name it frame. Press enter. Double click on the word layer 2, name this clock. Press enter. Next to the clock is an eyeball, and if you poke that eyeball, it will hide the clock layer. So hide the clock and select the frame layer. You know the frame layer is selected because it's a different color. So select the frame layer, and we're going to use the background eraser tool. And we have sub-tools. So it's inside the eraser tool, and you click and hold on a tool to find the sub-tools. So find the background eraser tool, and we want to make our eraser bigger than what it is right now. And that's up here. There's a picture of the background eraser and a circle with a caret next to it. Hit that caret, and we're gonna make our size around 100. Now, click and drag, and you want to click and drag on the white inside the frame. Don't go outside the frame. Try to stick just on the white. If you make a mistake, you can do Control Z, which is undo. Now, I want you to click and drag on the white on the outside. Again, you're just trying to keep the white in the center of your cursor. You make a mistake, Control Z, zebra. And again, so just try to keep it on the white. You can do it in more, you don't have to do it all at once. You can let go. Click and drag on the white. Poke the eyeball to see it again. We want to unhide it so we can see the clock. Now select the clock layer. You know it's selected because it's a different color. Click on the background eraser tool, and we're going to again get rid of the white. Try to keep on the white. You don't have to do it all in one click. You can take a break and let go and then do another click and drag. And you just want to keep, oops, Control Z, undo. There we go. In the layers window, we're going to move the clock layer. We're going to click and drag the clock layer below the frame layer. Now the frame is on top of the clock. We're going to drop the opacity. Opacity 100% means solid. The opposite of solid is transparent. So we want it to be at 75% opaque and 25% see-through. Click on the Move tool, the white arrow, and click and drag the clock to the bottom right corner. Select the frame layer. You know it's selected because it's a different color. We want to change the mode from normal to hard light. On the top menu, we're going to Edit, Transform, Rotate. And you want to go to the corner until you find a double-sided curved arrow. And when you see the double-sided curved arrow, click and drag to rotate the frame. Press Enter. On the top, go to Edit, Transform, Scale. Put your cursor in the corner and it will turn into a diagonal double-sided arrow. When you see that, click and drag to scale your frame, make it bigger. Press Enter. Click on the clock layer. On the top, go to Edit, Transform, Distort. Grab the top left corner and click and drag to distort the clock. Press Enter. We're going to change the layer mode of the clock from normal to multiply. We're going to add a new layer. It's next to the trash can. It looks like a piece of paper. And when you click on it, we'll get a new layer 1. Double click on the word layer 1 and name it gradient. Press Enter. Click and drag the gradient layer so it's on top of the frame. Gradient frame clock keys. We want to change the foreground color. So we have two colors here. The one on top is called the foreground. That means it's in front. And the one on the bottom is the background color. That one's in the back. Double click the top color. And this brings up a color picker. Choose a bright orange so you can change the hue and the brightness. And click OK. Now we want the gradient tool. When we change the tool, the options bar on the top changes. And there are some pre-built gradients in here. The first one is foreground to background, and the second one is foreground to transparent. In Photopea, anytime you see this gray and white checkerboard, that means transparent. So we want the second choice, foreground to transparent. We're going to start in the bottom right corner, and we're going to click and drag to the top left corner and release. In the layers window, we're going to drop the opacity for the gradient layer to about 30%. I'm going to use the capital T, and again, when we change our tools, the options on the top will change. So for the type tool, we want to find the font called Dearest. So we can find it in alphabetical order by scrolling, or we can start typing DEAR, and we just want regular Dearest. We want the size to be 100. Right now it's at 24, and I'm just going to type in 100 and press enter. Click on the canvas and start typing your name. Click and drag to highlight your name. On top here is the text color. We're going to double click and change the text color to white. Click OK. Now we want to double click on the box for the text layer, not on the words. We want to double click on the box to bring up the layer style window. I want you to turn bevel and emboss on, but don't just hit the check mark. I want you to click on the bar to bring up the bevel and emboss options. I want you to set the style to outer bevel. We're going to set the depth to 200%, size of 5, click OK. So over here, there's now an effect on this layer, and we can hit this caret, and you can hit the eyeball to turn the effect on and off. Okay, so we are done. If we wanted to keep working on this, if we wanted to keep our layers, or if we weren't finished and wanted to come back to it, we would file save as a PSD, a Photoshop document. This keeps your file just like this, with all the layers and totally editable. When you're done, we're going to flatten it. And we're going to lose all the layers, but that's how we turn it in. So when you're ready to turn it in, we're going to file export as a JPEG. And when we save with the JPEG, we want our quality to always be 100%. And save. We're now going to attach this to Google Classroom and turn it in.